way to do it. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome into the Arizona Rattlers Coaches Show with Kevin Guy. My name is Floyd Simmons, and I welcome you in on a great afternoon as we get set to talk some football and get set to recap the past event for the Arizona Rattlers. This past weekend, they traveled to Tucson. Didn't go the way the Rattlers had hoped as they dropped that one to the Tucson Sugar Skulls, and they prepare themselves now for a rematch of the United Bowl. Here come the Massachusetts Pirates this coming weekend into the Snake Pit for a big matchup. That's Saturday night, 6 p.m., and we'll get to all of that here on the show. Let me welcome in the coach. Coach Guy, welcome in. How you doing?
Doing good, Floyd. How you doing today?
I'm fantastic, Coach. I'm actually very excited. I think you're probably pretty excited in spite of, the disappointment with the loss on the weekend that we'll detail here in a bit. I feel like you've got to be pretty excited about the big news. And there was a huge historic press conference for the Indoor Football League held just about an hour ago in Las Vegas. And it was the announcement of how the championship game, the national championship game in the Indoor Football League is going to be played out for the next 3 years, including this season. And maybe I just let you announce that to everybody and throw some thoughts in on the big news.
Yeah, I think it was a great move, for the Indoor Football League. It was something that, we've had several discussions about and meetings about. I know I personally flew up the week that we went to San Diego and played. And, we had a meeting up in Vegas and just everybody that was involved, and the commissioner, Todd Tryon, and the Vegas Knights, the venue, also Chuck Brennan and myself, and just we sat down and said, hey, what would this look like? But obviously we wouldn't do it if we didn't think that we were ready to do it, and we wouldn't do it if we didn't think that it worked for us financially. And so, but it's something that is just part of our growth, and what a better place to go do it. Where Vegas has kind of become the sports entertainment capital of the country for us, and everything seems to be moving there. It's obviously driving sports tourism, and so I do think it's going to move. And I know there's going to probably be some naysayers that don't think we're going to pull it off, but we certainly would not do this if we didn't think the timing was right and we were going to benefit from it.
So big news. The Indoor Football League will hold a neutral site location national championship football game for this season. It comes up in August, and it'll be held the next 2 seasons as well. That's the term of the current agreement with the Dollar Loan Center. Brand new facility, just opened this year. It's hosted a number of different activities already, and of course, it's the home field for the Vegas Nighthawks, their Indoor Football League team, the expansion team that joined the league this year, and it's a big deal. It's a big deal. Getting that neutral site location, and as you said, Coach, the sports capital of the country. I think that the excitement level among fans ought to be extremely high, and those fans who are looking for something to do in addition to going and following their team that might get to the championship game. Could you ask for a better trip than Las Vegas?
Yeah, no, it's I think it's going to be fun for the players. I think it's going to be fun for the coaches. In 14 years of the league being in existence, they have not had a neutral site, so this is the first time we kind of take that step as a league, and just continue to grow. We want to grow our product. Grow our league, and I think this is a great opportunity for everyone involved. And and I can speak from experience. I mean, I'm the coach that can't win the home championship game, right? I'm 4-0 on the road. I'm 0-4 at home. I can tell you, as being the head coach and the president, when you're hosting that championship game, there's a lot of things that have to happen while you're also trying to prepare your football team. Now, in most teams, they're not set up the way we're set up here. But obviously Ron puts a lot of trust in me, and I have to oversee certain things, there's certainly a lot of distraction, not just for me, but I think there's a lot of distractions, for the players when you host that game at home. Okay, because everybody's family's trying to come in and watch the game. They're worried about tickets, the events surrounding the championship game. And the good thing about it is when we do it at a neutral site, you don't have any of that stuff to worry about, right? We're just going in. All that stuff is already set up. Someone else is setting that up for you, and you're focused on the game. So there's a lot of distractions that just magically disappear when you're not the one hosting. And I know Rattler Nation probably, I know they want to host it and then win. I would love to win it here in Phoenix. That's something that I haven't been able to do. And now I got to wait 3 years to see if I ever have a shot again at doing that. But we'll take the championships however we can get them. And, basically, I'll turn the conversation, go ahead and turn the conversation right now. If we played the way we played this past weekend, we have no shot at getting to the championship game. So, but I do think this is going to be great for the league. And it's going to be great for the fan base. It's something that you build, right? You got to build it. And we certainly would not have done it if we didn't have some guarantees going into it. And I think Commissioner Tryon has done a great job of negotiating this deal for the league and representing the ownership groups. The venue and Chuck Brennan and Dollar Loan Center, he's stepping up as the presenting sponsor. So there's a lot of great things that we already have in place, and there's going to be some more announcements that's going to be coming as we move forward. So, again, a step in the right directions. Again, we would not do this if we did not already know that this was going to be a good move for the Indoor Football League.
Well, the Indoor Football League continues to prove itself as the premier indoor football, professional football league around the country, and what another great step taken by the IFL, Todd Tryon, and the group. Chuck Brennan, by the way, it's the first time I'd become acquainted was watching the press conference, and this is a great guy. I don't think you could have asked for a better partner in a facility, and it's going to be exciting. So there you go. Yes.
To learn more about Chuck, I mean, he owns the Dollar Loan Center company, but he's also in the entertainment business, and this is Las Vegas. Henderson is all about the entertainment. And I think it's a perfect partnership. And I think you're going to be very shocked and surprised at some of these announcements that we're going to have coming out. We're going to be rolling out. But the good thing is that you need to know is, as a league, we have a chance to sell it. We know where the game's going to be, right? We have a chance to sell it between now and then, where sometimes we don't know who's hosting that championship game until a week or 2 weeks before we play that game, right? And the way it's set up now, that it was going to the highest seed, so whoever wins the semifinal games, the highest seed gets to host. And when you're trying to scramble to sell tickets and sponsorships and get all the logistics stuff set up, now we have plenty of time for our staff to go and plan this and make sure it's a great experience for our fans.
The fans get to make their plans, that's for sure. And the championship game will be held, I believe it's August 13th, if I'm not mistaken, is the day of the national championship game for the Indoor Football League. My name is Floyd Simmons, and that's the head coach, Kevin Guy of the Arizona Rattlers. The Arizona Rattlers coaches show underway here now. Well, Coach, coming off of disappointment on the weekend, you went into the game undefeated, 6-0, the only remaining undefeated team in the IFL. Now there are none. A 74-63 victory for the Tucson Sugar Skulls. And you know a lot about that team. I would imagine that your wife, Kathy, felt pretty good on Mother's Day after a great performance by her team on Saturday versus the Arizona Rattlers. And let's begin with that final score of 74-63. And in those final moments, the Rattlers kept inching closer and trying to get that foot in that door. And then every time you do something positive, the Sugar Skulls would find a way to close that door down, and ultimately they held on. They got the win, and it was impressive. They deserve the kudos for the job that they did. They played extremely well. But, Coach, your thoughts on a loss to the Sugar Skulls, your first as a team this season?
Yeah, I mean, For me, anytime we lose, the first person that I'm going to look at is myself, look in the mirror and make sure that I'm doing everything I can to put my players in a position to be successful. And, um, obviously there's always things that you look back, you could second guess yourself and think you could do better, but just mentally, we just did not look like the same team. We weren't there. And, um, I thought offensively we did okay. We got stopped two or three times, but we rolled a snap back, and fumbled the snap and turned the ball over once. We got stopped on fourth down, and then like the other couple of stops were more like situational in that 1 minute, and then at the end of the game, we have a chance to score with just a few seconds on the clock, and we had some guys that decided to do their own thing instead of running, what was called, and that was addressed this morning in meetings. But quite frankly, we saw some players do some things that were just uncharacteristic of what they've shown us this whole season, which tells me just mentally we did not look like that we even got off the bus and was there in the building. It was just probably a and I said this to the team this morning. It was the poorest defensive game, that I've seen our defense play since I've been the head coach of the Arizona Rattlers. And, you know, uh, DeQuan Neal, I believe, was 12 of 15 passing, like 80%, 5 touchdowns. We didn't really contest balls. They ran over us. They were more physical than us. We're not going to make any excuses. Okay. We got to look in the mirror. We can't run around and pat ourselves on the back when we're winning. And then when we lose, sit around and make excuses. They flat out outplayed us. They were more physical than us, and that day they were the better team on that day. So the great thing is we need to learn from it. We didn't lose the championship. We still got plenty of time to fix and correct the mistakes that we made and get ready for the playoffs. We lost 4 players in the game to injuries, and certainly when you got a 21-man roster, 4 players. I mean, you're losing 20%, whatever it was, of your players during the game, and we just had we put a poor product on the field Saturday night. So I mean, and that begins and starts with me. We got to do better, and we will. And we did some things to try to get back in the game. And every time we do this and we get into it, and usually 2-3 times a year we have to get into a game where we got an onside kick to try to switch the game. And you always got fans that don't understand it, don't understand the strategy, and that's okay. They just need to keep watching more indoor football and they get it. And you got a lot of coaches in this league that don't even get it, right? So I mean, but we get it. This staff gets it. We almost got ourselves back in the game. The issue is executing. It's not a matter of what we're calling. It's a matter of executing. And, if you look at Tucson's history all season long, they've been very poor at defending onside kicks. They've given up 1-2 onside kicks a game. So, but the other side of that is you shorten the game. If they're going to score, they score quick where you still got time to get back in the game. If you let them just drive down the field and run all the clock out, you're never going to get back, in the game. And we certainly, if you look at the 2 times that we did stop them and force them to kick 2 field goals, we stopped them in the red zone. So we wanted to shorten the field. We were struggling tackling out in the field. We were struggling covering. So this is where my experience comes in. This is what I get paid to do, and I totally understand it. And I'm totally understand that there's some fans out there that don't understand that strategy, but they just need to keep learning the game and keep watching how we've had success. And we did cut that game down to 8 points. Again, we had another chance, but we onside kicked, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. Go look at it. Only 1 time did the ball go 10 yards, okay? That responsibility falls on our kicker. He's got to get the ball 10 yards. One time we were offsides. That's on the player that was offsides. And, it's lack of execution, a lack of discipline. So, and if we ever get in that situation, I'll go ahead and let my fans know right now, we will do the same thing over again, okay? Because I believe in the strategy. It works. There's been many games that we've won because we've used that strategy. and also flip the game and steal the possession. So again, it's about shortening the field. It's about also making sure that you have enough time to get back in the game. And we were simply getting down, what was it, 3 possessions coming out of halftime, and that's something that we work on all the time. We just did not execute.
All right, Coach Guy. I think we've covered the game pretty well there. A tough loss to take, but a lot of fans might suggest it's good to get that one out of the way. You get that feeling out of the way and move on. Then from this point, how about the Massachusetts Pirates? How about a rematch of the United Bowl from last season, the championship game? That's a game that they won, a close one. They don't seem to have quite their footing like they had last year. Maybe they're a little bit off here or there. Maybe they've had an injury or two. They're not quite at that level, I don't think, yet, that saw them win a championship last year, but they're coming into town. And in a league that has a lot of parity, this is one that's as good as the next team that you've got on the schedule. So how about the Massachusetts Pirates? They get to come into the Snake Pit on Saturday.
Well, Floyd, here's where I'm going to disagree with you. Last year they lost 3 games in the first 8 games of the season, and they got hot down the back stretch and started winning and went on a huge win streak and wound up beating us in the championship game. But I disagree from the fact that they're not as good as they were last year, only because that was kind of we had some people in this building that I felt like gave our players the wrong message last week, and that can start to affect players' mindset where they think they're just going to show up and win the game, and that's just not how this game works. You have to go in and play and show up with some energy, execute, and have some discipline, and I don't care what kind of football you're playing, it still comes down to blocking and tackling, and you got to be in that mindset. And we physically got our butts whipped last week, okay? And when you look at Massachusetts, they are the reigning champions. This is going to be a tough game for us. They still got a lot of their same pieces, but I think they're headed in the right direction. They lost some games they probably shouldn't have lost already this year, and they did that last year, but then they got hot and started winning. So really, I'm not even focused on the Massachusetts Pirates. I'm focused on the Arizona Rattlers and what we got to do to win this game and get better and get players healthy, and some guys are going to get some opportunities to step up and get a chance to play, and they got to make the most of it, because we had some injuries last week, and quite frankly, this whole season, everything has been going perfect. We've had no injuries, other than like the first game of the season when we lost our running back Williams, and we haven't had any since then. We've just been kind of riding that wave, right? But we had some adversity the other night, and I didn't like how we handled it. And one thing, about me is I don't ever want to be accused of being a front runner, okay? And, we come out, we got hit in the mouth last week. We didn't respond well, and we need to fix that going into this game. So our focus is on the Arizona Rattlers this week and what we got to do to get better, and everybody needs to concentrate on doing their job and quit worrying about other things outside of what they got control over, and we'll get back to winning football games.
Coach, one of the comments that came out of the press conference earlier the IFL held is, Todd Tryon talked about how good this season's been. It's been a great year across the league. There's been a lot of great performances. This past weekend, your game saw the Tucson Sugar Skulls set a team record for points scored, 74 points, and a combined scoring record at Tucson Arena between the two teams. A lot of points put up. As a whole this year, looking across the board, how would you rate the year that the IFL is having?
Well, I think as a league, we're having a great season. I mean, from just look at it from an ownership standpoint, you're always looking for parity, right? You want parity. You want everything to be competitive. You want the games to be close. And I don't mean everybody go 8-8. I'm talking about all the games should be competitive and keep the fans in their seats and see 60 minutes of competition and entertainment, and they're having a great time at the game. I mean, I hate, even coaching wise, I hate being in games where we're winning by 30 points. That's just that doesn't make us better. Okay, doesn't make the league better. So I think the ownerships are always looking for parity, and that's why we're always tweaking some rules here and there to try to get there. There's some rules that we want to look at moving forward. because we want to be able to get these games over in 2.5 to 2 hours and 40 minutes. The games that get to 3 hours and longer. I mean, that's not who we're trying to be. So, we're always looking to improve. I think the league's doing a great job. Todd Tryon, our commissioner, is doing a great job. I think the owners have done a good job of stepping up and really working on their presentation this year and making it, not just about a football game, but entertainment. Yeah, I mean, when you look, I mean, you brought up how many points was scored last year. The scoring's up. I think that's more exciting for the fans. It doesn't make my day better because, if they're scoring, that means our defense is not playing well. And, again, you look at our defense last week, I think we were giving up 28 points a game going into that game, and we gave up 73. It just tells you we weren't mentally there. We weren't physically there. They ran through us like through a tin roof, okay? And we just weren't we just wasn't we wasn't there. We got to play better defense, and we will play better defense this weekend.
I like asphalt shingles myself. Coach, this past weekend, let me take you back to a comment I made right up front, and that is with Kathy Guy. Kathy, your wife. Did she have a good Mother's Day, and was it enhanced by the performance her team gave the Tucson fans on Saturday night?
Yeah, this is the time of year. We don't really see a lot of each other. She's doing her thing. I'm doing my thing. But she had family in town. I'm sure she was excited. And they every right to be. Coach Wooten and his staff, and they've been working hard, and the players down there, and I'm sure it was a big win. And quite frankly, I don't mind losing. It's how we lose is more what I'm interested in, and can we correct it? And move forward. I think sometimes a loss is good for your team, and because ideally we would like to learn about ourselves as we're winning and get it corrected. But unfortunately, that's just not how human nature works. They have to wait till something bad happens till you get their attention to actually fix something, right? When I'm talking about the players here, when we're winning, they think everything's hunky dory, and we don't really have a lot to work on. And coach, you're harping on these things, and you're overdoing it, and blah 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 blah. So it's just human nature. And now you got a chance. Okay, we lost. Here's why. We got to get this fixed. So, but hey, look, I think it's great for the rivalry. To me, it's never a rivalry until one side beats both sides have beaten the other side. So it hadn't been a rivalry in my opinion. Arizona's beat Tucson every time. This is the first time they beat Arizona. So here you go. Here comes a rivalry, right? So you naturally already have that set up between the two markets because of the two colleges, right? So we've been trying to, or let me back up. Kathy's been trying to create a more of a rivalry, and we simply, I think she just felt like that. Continue to grow the business and also put a better product on the field. And, I think with them signing Daquan Neal, it has really turned that program around. We'll see how it plays out through the end of the year. I mean, there's a lot of football left to play. Injuries, I did go over, congratulate Kathy. If that's what you were looking for, congratulate Dixie.
Well, the I-10 showdown certainly has now a lot more meaning to it after the Sugar Skulls were able to pull off that victory. Coming up for the Rattlers this weekend, the Massachusetts Pirates are in town. Coach, before we let you go, it's time to get to know your coach guy just a little bit more. Okay. I've got this question for you. All right. Can you take us back and let us know, as a player, not as a coach, but as a football player, your many years playing the game, including in the indoor football, not this football league, but in indoor football, in your many years of playing football, what memory stands out the most for you? What's maybe the proudest moment, or something that just is kind of seared into your conscience from your playing days?
From my playing days?
Yeah, from your playing days.
Yeah. Well, the first one for me, I always remember the negative stuff more than I do the positive stuff. Mm-hmm. So, but it was 1999. I was playing for the Orlando Predators. We went up to play the Albany Firebirds in Albany, New York. We didn't have a neutral site game at that point. It was the highest seed got to host, and they were the highest seed. We were coming off a big win in the semifinals. We beat the Iowa Barnstormers. Aaron Garcia, that was the quarterback. They were averaging over. They had the highest scoring average of any offense that ever played the game, and well over 60 points a game. And we went in there and had them 28-0, at halftime. And defensively, we were playing really well. We got to go. We wound up winning. Went to the championship game in Albany, New York, and just didn't execute. We weren't very disciplined. We lost that opportunity to win one as a player, and that one sticks out to me. On that trip, again, you look in the mirror first. What can you have done better? Unfortunately for me, I was nursing a hamstring pull at the time, and got shot up before the game. You don't hear that anymore. You don't hear about people getting shot up anymore. But you got shot up before the game, played through it. Hurt like hell through the whole game, but we had our opportunities to win it, just didn't get it done. And I hate that I've been a part of many championship teams, but I hate that we didn't win it that year, and it still bugs me just from a player standpoint. But probably as a coach, the biggest one was when we played Aaron Garcia and the Jacksonville Sharks in 2011. We're at home, we're winning. Went down, scored. It was just I think it was 2 seconds on the clock, and all we had to do is make one stop and one incomplete pass, and this game's over. And we got our championship, and we had a busted coverage, and I was very upset about that. We had a player decide that he was going to try to help another player in that situation. They were on the 10-yard line. I mean, it was man to man. I even called a timeout to make sure everybody knew what they were going to do, right? And we were all on the same page, and we busted a coverage there, and still scratching my head about that today. There's more to that story, but I won't throw anybody under the bus right here. But I can tell you there was a side conversation going on while I was talking in the huddle that I wasn't aware of, and it certainly played into that. But that one got taken away from us. I guess I don't know. There's been some big wins. There's been a lot of things that I guess my most fond memory was coming into this league, in the indoor football league from the arena football league. And part of the conditions for us to come into the league is that we weren't allowed to bring any of our roster with us from the arena football league. We had to start at 0. And we had 17 rookies. We picked up a few vets from a couple of teams around the league just to have some kids in that knew the game. We were learning the game. It was different rules. Anytime you go to a new league, they got their own nuances. And, we started with 17 rookies on a 25-man roster and won the championship that year. We started slow, but we got stronger as the season went on and was able to win the championship that year. And I was very, very proud of that team and everything that we had to overcome and the coaches that were involved on that staff and having to put in new systems and learn the new nuances of the league and the rules that were different. And so there was a lot of things that we overcame and was able to win that championship that year. And but yeah, I guess those are a lot of memories. I mean, I got many more. I mean, if you ever want to go grab a drink and sit and talk to me, I could tell you stories for days of things. I'm gonna write a book one day of just the things that I've seen in every league that I've been in, yeah. AFL, AF2, indoor football league as a player, as a coach, working in the front office. Just, I mean, I could sit and tell you stories for days of some funny things that I've seen over the years.
Coach, let's write that book and let's get that movie made. Okay, that'll be a lot of fun for everybody.
I tell you what, I think my story would be better than that movie that just came out about Kurt Warner. I got some really good stories that
I like it. I like it a lot. And if I've figured out anything, by the way, about great coaches, it's this: when you ask them about their memories, they always remember the losses. Those they hang on to longer than any of the successes for whatever reason. It's always a loss, always sticks with you longer than the glory does. It's just something amazing. But I guess that's what makes the good ones great. Hey, Coach, great stuff. And this weekend, a big matchup with the Massachusetts Pirates on Saturday, 6 o'clock kickoff at the Snake Pit at the Footprint Center. Folks, be there and have a great time. And we look forward to another big matchup and bounce back time now for the Arizona Rattlers on Saturday. Good luck, Coach.
Yeah, it should be a great week. We're looking forward to it.
All right, there's Kevin Guy, head coach of the Arizona Rattlers. Floyd Simmons here. Thanking you for joining us, everybody. Don't forget the game. Kickoff Saturday night, 6 p.m., the Arizona Rattlers and the Massachusetts Pirates. We'll see you next time for the Arizona Rattlers Coaches Show with Kevin Guy. Good afternoon, everybody.